y'all. I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-9789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet. Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Pattison on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
And here we go live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime, presented by VIP Play. With Allie Campbell, Tyler Barbaras, Jackson Freeman, and company, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine William Wednesday from Knoxville, Tennessee. Plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including calling our shot in the NFL. We're about 24 hours away, 26 hours away from the NFL season kicking off, and we will do rapid fire who wins each division in the NFL. Before that, we'll look at some college football storylines heading into week 2 of the season as plenty unfolded over the weekend, and there's a lot to talk about heading into the new week. We'll break that down. We'll also have our best bets look ahead presented by VIP Play at the end of hour number 1. We'll also take a look at a couple of Tennessee players that might get an opportunity to play on Saturday if everything goes right. And we'll tell you the names that you need to know when watching the Volunteers take on ETSU on Saturday. But with our first things first topic, we'll get to know our foe a little bit better, pinpointing the quarterback competition and the quarterbacks, plural, for the Buccaneers as they come into Neyland Stadium. But before we do that, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Allie. Allie, how are you on this William Wednesday?
I'm having a great William Wednesday. Typical class, went to the gym, all the things. And UGA football tickets for students came out today.
Oh, wow.
Or the lottery.
Yeah.
So entered in that. Everyone have good thoughts for me.
Yes.
Send them my way. Really hopeful.
Best of luck there. That was always an adrenaline rush. Being someone that did not usually wake up at 9 o'clock when I was in college. That's a bad saying. I can't believe I have to even say that. But that was always really tough. Like you'd set an alarm, wake up at 9 o'clock, get on the app, it'd probably crash, and you just hope and pray that you were in on time. But they changed it to now
yes.
where you don't have to do that.
Yes.
But back for us old folks, we used to have to wake up. I remember sophomore year all the time, waking up 9 o'clock, and then you're scrambling, and then the app would crash, and then you'd just be up for the rest of the day because you have to sit there and wait till it reboot, but it wouldn't reboot. The Tennessee-Alabama game 2022 was crazy on the app. Obviously, the game was crazy as well.
Yes.
But that one, and then
Yeah, I did not get tickets for that one.
Tennessee-Georgia 2023 was a big one too.
Yes.
And
I
even-
worked that game, actually.
Really?
Mhm.
So you didn't have to worry about the tickets.
No.
You already had one. But yeah, that's something I guess look back on and don't envy anyone having to do that again. But now with the new app, you don't really have to wake up anymore and do all of that. So
But they cut the seniors' points like in half. I'm not sure if they did that for everyone, but I have 5 points right now.
oh my gosh.
Isn't that's crazy?
Well, that's one thing I got really upset about because my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, I would go to every game like 2 hours early, and you would get extra points for getting inside the building a little bit earlier than everyone
no
else.
way.
So like the UConn game, you got 3 points for going because it was homecoming and it was UConn in that 2022 season. No one gave a crap. But you would get 2 extra points if you got in before an hour and 30 minutes. So I would rack up like 5 points. I had the most points at any one of my friend group, so I would use the code. But heading into last year, they cut him in half to where I still had like 13 at the beginning of the year. But I was like, I should have like 27, and I was upset.
They also don't give you points for football games anymore.
Really?
Now it's like soccer,
Oh,
volleyball.
Or basketball games.
I'm going
too,
to a
for that
volleyball
matter.
game tomorrow.
I don't
So
think
that's
they
the
have it for
thing.
Yeah.
basketball.
I
True.
think that creates, I don't know. There were people that would go to the games, but I feel like that creates just a 4-car pile up trying to get
Yes.
in there and everyone's walking right out. Like I went to a soccer game last year and the soccer Vols have been doing a really good job by the Lady Vols.
Yes.
Soccer has done a great job to start the season.
Undefeated.
But I mean, I'd walk in there, scan the ticket and leave. Like, I got things to do on a Sunday. So I just feel like it creates an artificial presence of people there not really there for the game.
I'll let us move on really quick, but I still stand by the fact that you should be rewarded for going to a football game and staying the entire time because I always do, and my friends have more points than me, and they leave at halftime.
I can agree with that.
Not fair.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. Tyler, how are you on this? Tyler, no, it's not Tyler.
No,
Tyler
it's a
Tuesday
William
was yesterday. It's
Wednesday.
William Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, we got Tyler Thursday tomorrow. Still feeling a little bit
Right.
under the weather, but I'm feeling better. Getting closer to the weekend. That's always a good thing. Don't have classes on Fridays. So I guess tomorrow, Tyler Thursday, I guess is considered my Friday. So that's pretty good. Football, NFL football tomorrow. I'm pumped for that. Weather's nice outside. Really nothing to complain about right now.
Cool. Good deal. Well,
Yeah,
hope you
man.
feel better.
Thanks, brother.
Tyler Thursday approaching your Friday. Good stuff. Hey, we might have a new title for Friday. It's Freeman Friday with
There
Jackson.
we go.
So Jackson, during the summer, we had Max Monday when Max Pennell was with us, and we had Tyler Tuesday, William Wednesday. Tyler got 2 days for some reason. Tyler Thursday as well.
Putting in the work back
But
here. That's why.
we didn't have an F. And now, even though your first name's Jackson, we can use the last name Freeman Friday. I like that a lot. So Freeman Friday is going to be on Friday. You'll be here, and we're happy to have you a part of the show. This is your second edition with us. How are you on this William Wednesday?
I'm great, and it's actually a real big coincidence because all of my friends call me Freeman because
Okay.
we have multiple Jacksons in
Okay.
our friend group, so it fits right in.
Yeah,
Makes
Freeman.
sense.
Freeman's a cool last name. I like that. Yeah,
appreciate
a lot of ways you could play it, and like Freeman Friday, a good way to do it. All right, Tyler. Gosh, you got to mute the mic if you're going to do that.
My microphone was off. I think Freeman picked it up. Sorry.
Okay. I just say, come on, man. All right, let's get into the action. Our first things first topic, and it's Know Your Foe. When Tennessee football competes in its home opener against ETSU this Saturday, it'll be against a pair of former Power 4 quarterbacks, as both guys got action in the Buccaneers opener against Murray State last weekend. After playing 2 transfer quarterbacks, it seems like ETSU will continue that against the Volunteers this weekend in Neyland Stadium. The Buccaneers use both Cade McNamara, and for our college football junkies out there, you might know that name, and Jacoby Criswell as well at the position. And in the 45-17 win to open the season, McNamara completed 12 of 17 passes for 146 yards, 1 touchdown and interception. He also ran for 19 yards, and Criswell completed 5 of 8 passes for 34 yards, and he ran for 46. So you get a little bit of a yin and a yang with these guys. McNamara better in the air, Criswell better on the ground. This is what Josh Heupel had to say earlier in the week when talking about this quarterback situation for the Bucs, saying, quote, preparation of who they are and how they play and the way that what they're doing defensively as a staff, how you want to call it a little bit different. But both of them played well against Murray State. And obviously Heupel is aware of this 2-quarterback situation. Sometimes we have referred to this 2-quarterback situation as if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. But for ETSU, a FCS team that was ranked in their FCS polls this week, number 24 in the FCS stuff, maybe they can make it work. I don't believe it works on the FBS level, but maybe it does for ETSU. We'll get into what we make of each of these guys because McNamara started off at Michigan. That's where I think a lot of people remember him from. He was a highly rated recruit coming out of high school, signs with the Big Blue, and doesn't end up working out there because J.J. McCarthy is on that team. McCarthy obviously ended up going to the NFL draft. McNamara decided to leave, went to Iowa, got banged up, and was out in the matchup in the Citrus Bowl when Tennessee took on the Hawkeyes. And obviously their quarterback play was abysmal in that one. McNamara was solid during the season for Iowa, but ended up not working out there as Iowa brought in a new quarterback from the FCS level this past offseason. And McNamara decided to make the move to ETSU. I think he's the better quarterback of the two. He's got the better Power 4 experience, and he's at least played in some big games before, has played against a Power 4 level schedule, has some good experience. So I think he's a lot more suitable in this situation. Criswell started off at Arkansas, then transferred to North Carolina. Now, he lost the quarterback battle last year to Max Johnson. Max Johnson obviously got hurt, and then it was kind of charades of who was going to play quarterback the rest of the way. But Criswell doesn't have a ton of experience. That's why he was axed out. He comes to ETSU, and now they have this quarterback competition that is yet to be solved. But I think both guys are serviceable. As we mentioned in the opener, McNamara a better thrower of the football, Criswell a better runner of the football. And you can sometimes incorporate that into your offense as, kind of a run set, maybe a heavy package, a jumbo package for the passing game centric. You can have more, 12 personnel. You can have, 3 to 4 wide receivers. But it does make things a little bit more predictable if you decide to go that route. But Tennessee's obviously going to be the better team on the field, have the better personnel. It's all coming down to understanding the scheme and understanding what these guys are trying to do when they're on the field. And I think from a very generic perspective, when McNamara is on the field, they're looking to have some deep shots and be more aggressive in the passing game. When Criswell's on the field, they're more thinking run. And that's just going from what we saw last week against Murray State. I don't envy anyone watch that tape, by the way. It's not very fun, but you have to be prepared for a show, right? So I think McNamara is the better guy, but both of these guys have some Power 4 experience, which I do think is valuable for this Bucs team heading into Neyland Stadium, which is one of the meccas of college football, as ETSU's coach said earlier this week. Really excited, he said, for the opportunity to play inside Neyland. But both these guys have a little bit of experience. McNamara, more experience in this one. Allie, what do you make of the two guys?
Well, you don't always expect to see guys with this level of experience leading a team that you're facing in the FCS. Both of these guys have starting experience in these big programs, not just guys who have watched from the sidelines, but have actually had time to be on the field and get that experience in impressive systems. So there's that we know that they'll have some understanding of what's going on. I see this quarterback battle in two ways. One, you can see it in the positive of iron sharpens iron. And so it's great that they get to compete with each other and learn from each other and grow from each other's strong suits. And I think that this could help both of them either in the run game or the passing game, depending on, their specific strengths like William talked about. Yeah. But then also, like we keep saying, two quarterbacks means no quarterback. It can mean that, not always, but I will be curious to see how the offense adjusts when they switch out that quarterback at the helm in the game, and I'm curious to see how our defense reacts to that as well.
Given a little bit more on Cade McNamara, he began his career, as I mentioned, at Michigan, where he spent 4 seasons after redshirting as a freshman and playing in 4 games with 1 start as a redshirt freshman. He earned the starting job in year 3. And during that redshirt sophomore year, McNamara started in all 14 games while leading the Wolverines to a 12-2 record. In 2022, he lost the starting job to the incumbent J.J. McCarthy and ultimately transferred. McNamara spent the next 2 seasons at Iowa. In 2023, that year that Tennessee matched up with them in the Citrus Bowl, he suffered a season-ending injury after starting the first 5 games, and Tennessee obviously beat that Iowa team 35-0 in the Citrus Bowl, and he started 8 games at Iowa the next season before transferring and ending up at ETSU this year. Iowa last year, not good for McNamara, but Iowa was much better in the second half of the season offensively. You look at their numbers from the beginning of the year to the second half of the year. Iowa much, much stronger in the second half of the season, which doesn't bode well for McNamara. But I do believe that he's the best in the room. He's had a tough trajectory in college football. Injuries are a part of it, and losing a job due to that, losing the reps and the repetition from that is really difficult. At Michigan, just ended up losing his job to a first-round quarterback. That's a really tough situation to be in. But I think at ETSU, he's got the opportunity to be the leader in the locker room, be the experienced guy, be the guy that everyone looks up to. Not everyone in that ETSU locker room will ever grace being a starting quarterback or a starting player at a Big Ten school like McNamara was. So I think that's really valuable. When it comes to Cade and his terms of his performance, he's got to be a little bit more reined in offensively. There'd be a lot of times where he stayed too long in the pocket, decided to make some errant throws, would miss on a couple of targets, just the little things. The mechanics are really, really important for McNamara. And maybe this offseason he's changed that. Maybe a breath of fresh air in East Tennessee is what it takes for McNamara to have more success. But I do believe he's the best in the locker room. I was not a big fan of Criswell coming out of North Carolina. I felt like that was a throw-in, and it might be more of an indictment on McNamara that this has continued to be a quarterback competition. But I believe Cade's the best guy in the room. I think that's the guy we'll see the most of on Saturday, as ETSU understands this is a guy with a lot of reps against Power 4 teams. I feel like he'll have the most comfortability up against Tennessee. So I think he's the best in the room. Allie, if you were the coach for ETSU, would you agree with that statement, or maybe you're a Criswell person?
I would say that as a coach, I would be a Cade McNamara.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. I would lean more towards him based off the fact that he has more starting experience, while they both have they've both been at 2 different Power 4 programs.
Yeah.
He's had more starting experience, and losing your job to JJ McCarthy, I mean, valid.
Yeah.
Like, not many people can beat him in that. So the fact that he was able to go on and adjust to being the starting quarterback at a new powerful program, it's impressive, but then it's just tough to see when injuries are what, take you down a little bit. So I would say that he's probably the more experienced and more well-versed quarterback, and I hope that he's able to, maybe win that spot and get the starting quarterback space to himself.
Well, those quarterbacks will have to go up against the Tennessee defense that is looking to rewrite the ship from what it looked like on Saturday in the second half. The Volunteers were gashed in the run game and really let down in that second half after a strong first half showing with a turnover that resulted in a touchdown, a scoop and score from Colton Hood, who impressed throughout the day, I will say. But again, that second half, after around that 8-minute mark, it wasn't the same type of Tennessee defense that we had come accustomed to seeing over the last year and a half. And when I look at this Tennessee defense up against 2 quarterbacks, I think it's important for them to understand what both of these guys are good at. And we talked about that earlier. But, the ultimate goal of a game like this is to get a lot of guys involved. We'll talk about a couple of those guys here in a minute. But you've got to make sure that you are applying pressure on a guy like McNamara that struggled against that at Michigan and Iowa. You're getting to the quarterback. You're forcing tough throws, and you're going to be able to win the one-on-one matchups against the receivers in your secondary. I know that Ricky Gibson's down and Jeremiah McCoy's not available, but you're still going to have the advantage in those one-on-one man coverage matchups. So I'd press up on him. I'd force Cade McNamara to make tough throws down the field in tight windows, and I think that's where you'll have the most success. Now, if Criswell's in the game, you've got to be very attentive to the run. Maybe a quarterback spy, as Criswell's a guy that likes to get out of the pocket and extend plays that way. So it's all about knowing your personnel, but I thought Tennessee had a lot of success with a guy in Steve Angeli, who is a little bit of a statue in the pocket, and Tennessee was able to get a lot of pressure on him. 5 total sacks, 7 tackles for loss on Saturday for the Volunteers. Those numbers are strong, but you've got to make sure that you are keeping composed in the run defense game to not allow the type of stuff you allowed on Saturday. I don't think ETSU is going to run it up like Syracuse did, but getting to the quarterback, I think, is really important early on in this game because that's where ETSU can get a lot of chunk plays. And when you go back and look at Tennessee over the last couple of years in these kind of FCS matchups, and Austin Peay, for example, in 2023, Austin Peay came in there with a really unique game plan, and they were aggressive. You could see the same out of ETSU. The thing about playing these FCS games is there's not a lot to lose for this Buccaneers team. They can go in there. They can go for it on 4th and 1. They can go for it on 4th and 4 in their own territory. They're going to be aggressive, and it's important to key in on every position and know what's going on in the backfield so that you don't get spooked. There was one play in that Austin Peay game where it was a read option, and it was the quarterback who I know his name. I can't remember, and that's some ball knowledge if you know the Austin Peay quarterback from 2023. Mike, it's Mike something. Mike D'Angelo, I think. Mike something.
Oh, look.
Yeah, it's something Mike. So find that real quick. But Mike had a really good run. It went for like 70 yards on a 4th down.
DeLelo?
Yeah, Mike DeLello. DeLelio, whatever it is. Yeah.
Spelled super interesting.
He had a really good run because you weren't focused in the backfield on everything that's going on. Can't allow for that to happen on Saturday. And if you want to get some of these younger players involved, you've got to be locked in defensively early to allow for, the Jordan Rosses of the world to get an extended amount of snaps, to allow for like an Isaiah Campbell, a blue chip freshman that comes in that I expected more reps from last week. Didn't get it. I'd love to see more on Saturday because Georgia's knocking on the door here in a week. You've got to clean everything up and get your personnel straight before you head into that matchup. And also, I want to look at those cornerbacks. Guys like Ty Redmond were really impressive, the highest graded PFF player on the defensive side of the ball for the Volunteers Saturday. Get him more reps. Get some of these other guys that may be behind him or on that same level, a freshman that comes in with a lot of juice. Get these guys acclimated, and that's the ultimate goal for Saturday, but you got to make sure that you handle business early. Watch what's going on in the backfield so you don't get fooled and win those one-on-one man coverage matchups with Cade McNamara at quarterback so that you force him to put in a tough window. That's what I'm expecting from this Tennessee defense on Saturday. Anything less, and we might be having a tough conversation again on Monday.
After Syracuse, Joshua Joseph said that we left a lot of things out there. So I expect them to be looking at the improvements that they need to make, knowing what they need to fix from last week, and going in and working on those critical things before, once again, facing UGA in a couple weeks. So getting those kinks out right here, right now is important. I expect to see some depth in the secondary and maybe testing out some of those younger guys now that McCoy and Gibson are out for this game. We're expecting McCoy to be out for this game.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, okay. So, testing some other people in there when the stakes are, maybe less high. And looking at the 2018 matchup against ETSU, Tennessee beat them 59-3. I expect to see similar numbers this year. And they had 2 defensive touchdowns. So I think that the defense could really, have an impact in the game in a similar fashion this year.
Yeah, you mentioned that 2018 matchup. The Vols won their only game in school history against ETSU, 59-3, with Jeremy Pruitt at the helm. That's some ball knowledge right there. That's a little bit of a throwback.
His first win as a Tennessee head coach.
I would say first win of many, but it wasn't the case for him. Not many wins came after that ETSU win in 2018 for Pruitt. All right, when we come back, we've done a lot of talk so far about how important it is for the defense to be locked in, to get these other guys involved. When we come back, we'll tell you about those other guys to watch for on Saturday that hopefully will get an extended amount of reps. We'll break it down when we return right here on Overtime, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area, from Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive. Even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's Nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'sproKnoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Money your way.
All right, back here on Overtime on a William Wednesday. We appreciate you hanging out with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. All right, good stuff in the first segment. We were breaking down those ETSU quarterbacks, and we mentioned how the defense is going to have to get stops early in this one to allow for everyone to have the opportunity to play and get some meaningful reps before you go take on the Bulldogs in week 3. But I wanted to focus on those guys that we want to see in this segment, as obviously Tennessee had a big week this past weekend. You dominate Syracuse to win 45-26. That result, heading into it at least, you were prepared for a battle. You were prepared for four quarters. And this one, you're hoping to prepare for about 2 quarters of starter action and then get into the rest of your guys. So let's talk about the players that we are most looking forward to seeing. And Tyler and Jackson, if you guys have one you want to hit on, just let me know. But there are a lot of young guys on this team. Josh Heupel's done a great job recruiting in this past cycle, and we all know about this current cycle that he's drawing in for 2026. A very, very strong class, possible historic class for Tennessee upcoming into next year. But this past class was really strong as well. We talked about a couple of these guys in camp. But I'm going to begin with an offensive player here because Mike Matthews was good. Braylon Staley was good. Chris Brazzell was good. Those guys were impressive Saturday. But I do look back to Tennessee's time with Josh Heupel, and in the back of my head, I know injuries are a part of it at wide receiver. Cedric Tillman in 2022. In 2023, it was Brew McCoy. Last year, it was basically everyone that was a starter was banged up at some point. So we know in this high-tempo, fast-paced offense, you're going to have to maybe rely on a different guy. And the current way this wide receiver room works out, it's 3 freshmen and a redshirt freshman transfer from Alabama and Amari Jefferson. So I look at Rodarius Jackson as a guy to possibly get involved on Saturday if things go the right way. Jackson was a highly rated recruit, was a part of a strong wide receiver class period for Josh Heupel and company. Rodarius Jackson, Travis Smith Jr., Joakim Dotson, all those guys bring something a little bit different to the table. And for Radar, as they're calling him, I didn't even know that was his nickname until John said it the other day. Radar Jackson.
Radar?
Oh, that's fun.
I thought it was Rah-Rah. I thought it was
John
Rah-Rah.
said Radar, so I'm going to take John's word for it. And if it's wrong, folks, you can blame John Reed. Radar is what John told me. And I do like that because this is a guy that you need to have on your radar going forward. There we go. How about that?
That was good.
And I want him to get involved offensively, really all 3 of these guys, but I just wanted to pick one because Jackson was the big-time star in the orange and white game. He had a couple of really impressive catches, started turning some heads there, and heading into training camp, that was kind of a little bit of a talking point. Does he establish himself as a possible starter? Does he establish himself as a guy that we could see throughout the season? This is the opportunity to do it. You shined in the orange and white game. Now you have the opportunity to do it basically against orange and white competition in ETSU. No straight to them, but obviously not the likes of a Georgia or another SEC opponent that you'll face throughout the year. So knowing the importance of those wide receivers' depth, I want to see Radar Jackson get involved on Saturday, get a couple of catches, showcase what he can do. Really any of these guys, Travis Smith or Joakim Dotson as well. But I'm interested with Radar because he was really good in the orange and white game. That's one guy I'm looking for. Allie, who's a person or a player, I should say, that you're watching on Saturday to maybe get some extended reps.
Well, of course, everyone wants to see David Sanders, so I have to say it. We were expecting to see him at Syracuse. He was expected to be the starting right tackle, and then he got a little nicked up in practice earlier in the week, and so they decided it wasn't the right call to play him in that game. And Josh Heupel said that it was hard for him when he got the news, hard for David specifically, and that he anticipated being able to play in that game and that he handled it extremely well, but they are expecting to see him in this ETSU matchup, which I think is huge before going into UGA and getting him settled into that offense. He was the number 2 offensive tackle and number 6 overall prospect in that 2025 recruiting class. So this is a big guy that can make a ton of plays that you really want to see out there, and I'm excited to see what he finally does.
Tyler.
Yeah, this is a sophomore player, but in his freshman year, he didn't get a whole lot of reps because, there was a lot of competition. Big Amari Thomas, Omar Norman Lott. But he had a really, really good game on Saturday. And that's big Nathan Robinson.
Yeah.
Big defensive lineman, 6'6", 300 pounds, out of Greenbrier, Tennessee.
Okay.
If we got any listeners from Greenbrier, shout out to you. Maybe you know Nathan Robinson, but I was really impressed with his ability to just move and get to the quarterback. He's, 300 pounds as a interior defensive lineman. They're usually on the bigger side, so he's a little bit lighter than, the normal 315, 320 pound interior defensive lineman. But he really impressed me. Got that forced fumble on the strip where Colton Hood took it to the house on Saturday. you were talking about this yesterday, William. This run defense, you don't have, those big bodies anymore. You don't have the Amari Thomas, the Omar Norman Lott. And when we were talking about the run defense, especially in that second half, I really got thinking. I was like, who's going to step up and fill those voids? And right now, I think that the biggest player on my radar is Nathan Robinson. I mean, this is a guy that waited his turn last year, only had 3 tackles last year, and they were all assist tackles. But on Saturday, he played a very large chunk of the game. He had 3 tackles, 1 solo, 2 assists, a sack, and a forced fumble. I mean, this is a guy that I think could really become a pivotal piece on this Tennessee Vols defense. And you do need some of these sophomores to step up and play a role. I mean, you saw our previous interior defensive lineman do that. So now I'm curious to see if Nathan Robinson can be that next player that can step up. He has the length, he has the size for it. 300 pounds, that's what it says on ESPN. Maybe he's a little bit more, maybe he's a little bit less. Who knows? I have to ask him myself. But this is a player that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on, number 94 this Saturday.
Yeah, Robinson looked good on Saturday. The only worry I have with him is the injuries, as he was banged up a couple of times, went down twice in the game, and I believe they were real. Obviously, there were some injuries in the game that did not seem as sportsman-like. Yeah, sure. Yeah, convincing, as Syracuse looked like they were taken out by a couple of tranquilizers at one point. But health is a big thing on the defensive line. Robinson being available, I think, is a big part of it. Jackson, any player that you have your eye on heading into Saturday that might have not got a whole lot of reps on Saturday?
Travis Smith Jr. for me. I know you said Radar. And that I'm pretty sure that is his nickname. I have a few friends that work for the football team that all said that since he got here, that they call him Radar.
Good. Some confirmation there. There we go.
But Travis Smith Jr., the other highly touted freshman wide receiver that Josh Heupel landed, really excited to see what he can bring to the offense. He got, I think, a couple snaps against Syracuse. Nothing really major, but I hope to get to see him in a large facet.
Yeah, and he wears number 1, which is always a swaggy number.
That's what I was just going to say.
First freshman in Tennessee history.
Yeah, yeah. There'll be a lot of Travis Smith Jr. jerseys in the stands, courtesy of the Vol Shop, I'm sure. But, yeah, I do like Travis Smith Jr. He's another guy that I think adds a lot to the future of this Tennessee team. And obviously after Joey Aguilar is done, it'd be nice to have a couple of established wide receivers. And one of the big things last year that a lot of people were upset with is that Mike Matthews didn't get a whole lot of reps and didn't really establish himself. Braylon Staley the same way. To where, like, heading into this new season, during the offseason, the question was, okay, what do we have at wide receiver? That was one of my big things that I hit on over and over again was, is this a good enough wide receiver room to have success long-term? What's the ceiling of this team? Was a question because we don't really know what we had the receivers. And they look good on Saturday. Obviously, at Syracuse, we'll have to see what they do in SEC play. But I will say Fran Brown, a defensive backs coach at Georgia, now the head coach at Syracuse, does a good job coaching those guys up. And Tennessee was able to have a lot of success there. Some of their best players for Syracuse in that secondary. But I would agree with Jackson and saying, I want to get these guys established. I want to have these guys have the opportunity to make a name for themselves. So heading into next year, it's not, Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley and who else is going to make a big play? Obviously, maybe a Tristan Keys gets into the mix as he flipped over, last week. But I'd like to have a couple of guys that have already been on campus, have already played a season to establish themselves as well. So that's a good point. Another guy I want to mention, my guy, Jake Merklinger. I want to see Jake play on Saturday. I know this was, a tough summer for him. I guess a tough couple of weeks, losing the starting job after seeming to be the incumbent to when Nico Iamaleava left. And he handled it really well. Joey handled it well. The quarterbacks have handled themselves well, period. But I want to see Merklinger in game action. Obviously, you can only get so much from practice and scrimmages. Once you put on the pads and go onto the field for a game and game action, it could be a lot different. So right now, he is the backup quarterback on this roster. And we already saw Joey Aguilar get a little banged up on Saturday. He threw that touchdown pass and started holding his back. who knows? You never know what's going to happen in the game of football. It's a contact sport. There's a lot of opportunities to get banged up, and there might be an opportunity for Jake Merklinger to start at some point this season if Joey does go down. And I'm not wishing that, but I'm just saying you have to think of all the possible options. So want to see Merklinger on Saturday, want to see what he has grown on from last year to this year. And, if Tennessee ended up making the right call. I'm not saying that this is true for this situation, but I will say Joe Milton got on campus in 2021 and beat out Hendon Hooker. And Milton was a starter in 2021. Who was the better quarterback in college between those two guys? It ended up being Hendon Hooker. And, Nico Iamaleava didn't really progress the way that we had hoped in his second season with the Volunteers in terms of being on campus. Obviously, he redshirted his freshman year, but last year was his first full year. Didn't really take that progression that we had hoped. So maybe you could say, I'm not a big believer, or I'm not saying this per se, but there are people out there that say that Heupel might have a little bit of a struggle of evaluating quarterbacks. So this would be Merklinger's opportunity to showcase what he can do. And if he does play well, I wouldn't take too much into account, as obviously this is ETSU, but it is something in the back of my head. We've seen some poor decisions at quarterback in years past. Would that be the same here? George McIntyre as well, because he was a guy that performed really well in training camp, and that was a guy that I was not very high on coming in. I looked at him and say, this guy's about 190 pounds soaking wet and looks more so like he's on frat row than, on the, sidelines for Tennessee. And that's not supposed to be a stray, but just doesn't look like a guy that's ready to play college football in the SEC. I know he's got the wingspan, the length, the arm. I get it. It's there. He was a highly rated guy coming out of high school, but just didn't look the part. But he did look the part in training camp, so I might have to eat my words on that. If he does get to play Saturday, interested to see what he looks like in his first game action. So both those quarterbacks I'm interested to see as well. Any other names that you guys want to mention? Allie, do you have one?
Well, I was just going to say, do you expect to see George McIntyre out there as well? Do you think that Josh would potentially put both of them in the second half?
I think in an ideal world, the first half, you play Joey and the starters. Third quarter, you start to mix in the second string guys, maybe a couple of first team guys to just get certain looks offensively. You don't want to throw Merklinger out there with the Toon squad. You want to give him some opportunity to run with some ones. So get a look there. If it's not impressive, maybe third, fourth, or I guess later on the third and the fourth quarter, you see more of McIntyre. And then you really start to unload and start to see some of the walk-ons and guys that are not on scholarship. But that's a good thing, too. Those guys work really hard. They deserve to play at some point. But that's if everything goes well.
Will Brooks.
Well,
had to give a shout out.
Yes.
I know he's no longer with the team,
yes.
but just
Will Brooks was a former walk-on. There's another guy, Allie, I meant to tell you. Ben Bolton, a former walk-on.
Yes.
He's from Memphis.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that I'm friends with are friends with him.
Yeah, and he got some reps this past week in Atlanta. So that could be your new Will Brooks. Allie was a big Will Brooks fan last year. Maybe Ben Bolton, the next one.
He also had a solo tackle
against
Syracuse.
Yeah, already making some progress.
Big stuff.
Yeah, so ideally, though, you want to get up early, maybe have some opportunities to get some of these second and third string guys in as well. Do you have something to add, Tyler?
Yeah, William, this is a guy that you've been raving about. Didn't see his name a whole lot on Saturday, but that's Sam Brame.
Yes. Thank you. I meant to talk about that one too, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, we've both been fairly high on him, but when you have a top tight end in the nation in front of you on the depth chart, it's going to be hard to crack out playing time. But in a game like this against ETSU, where you do hope that, you have a commanding lead in the first half, you bring in, some of those second string guys, and Sam Brame could very well end up being a first string weapon for this Joey Aguilar led offense. So I'm interested to see what type of reps he'll get, to see if they do go to the double tight end look more. They didn't really do that a whole lot on Saturday. I was kind of surprised. Me and Jeremy, we were talking about that. But I do think Brame will have a role on this team. But once again, it is still very early. But I do hope to see his name being called on the loudspeakers in Neyland this Saturday.
Yeah, I do like Sam Brame a lot. Thank you for reminding me that. I forgot to put him on my notes, but I should have. And he was actually one of the guys I was most looking forward to seeing this season, because he was really impressive in camp. We talked 2 weeks ago about those guys that had really impressed. Jesse Perry was one of them, and he looked strong on Saturday. Wanted to see Brain because Miles Kitselman, as you mentioned, a top 10 tight end in college football. Ethan Davis had a couple of drops that were a little bit notable. There was one on a kind of a impromptu tight end screen that he just whiffed on. And I've been a little bit unimpressed with Ethan Davis over the last, year and a half. Maybe Brame, a guy to, see more often on the offensive side of the ball. A top 70 recruit out of Kansas last year. Really, really strong. I believe he'll be a big-time hit in the future. Would like to get him some action on Saturday as well. All right, plenty of guys to watch for. We hit on a couple. Maybe you'll keep a keen eye out for them on Saturday when the Volunteers take on the Buccaneers of ETSU. We'll continue covering it throughout the week, but when we come back, we'll take a look ahead to the best bets of the weekend for week 2 of college football presented by VIP Play. Stay right here. It's Overtime presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Citizens National Bank.
Kick off this football season with a CNB Plus Perks checking account. Move downfield with free online and mobile banking. And cross the goal line with extended evening hours and Saturday banking. Banking at CNB has its perks. Find out more at cnbtn.com.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
All right, back here on Overtime, presented by VIP Play. Folks, college football season is officially back, and so is the NFL in about 25 hours. We'll have Eagles and Cowboys tomorrow night. Should be fun. But with all this action, you've got to find a way to get involved on the action. And the best way to do that, if you're in the state of Tennessee, is VIP play. Go claim your VIP play welcome bonus. And when you make your first bet of $5 or more, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code FANRUN. That's FANRUN in all caps to claim those bonus bets. And it's the best opportunity to bet on Tennessee football, bet on the Titans if you really want to do that. I don't suggest it, but if you really want to do that, you can bet on the Titans if you want with the NFL season kicking back off. Plenty of ways to get involved, a total, a spread, plenty of props and options. The VIP Play app is so unique because if you don't see one that you like on the app at the time, you can contact them. You can say, I want something else. I want this, and they'll do it for you. So just let them know it's a great app to get on the action. I can't say it enough. A gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. Okay, week 2, time for a bounce back, right? What did Big Sean say, Tyler? Last night took an L, but tonight we bounce back.
I was trying to think of what the lyrics were. Is that what it is? But tonight we bounce back?
Well,
last night took an L, but yeah, that sounds right.
But tonight I bounce back.
Yeah, that sounds
right. Yeah. So last week I didn't take a full L. I went 5-8-1. It's not great and not usually up to my standard. But this week, after getting to watch all of these teams play at least once, we've got some opportunities for some big action this week. Very unique spreads, very unique slate upcoming for week 2. And there are a couple of what I call trap lines, stuff that kind of ropes you in and you're like, oh, this is a really good deal, but it gets a little bit dicey. Let's look at them. Illinois, the 11th best team in the country. Luke Altmaier comes back, a really strong defense returning. They're only -3 on the road against unranked Duke. The Blue Devils have Darian Mensah at quarterback, the $4 million quarterback that transferred over from Tulane. That's an interesting one. And then Iowa +3 on the road at Iowa State. Iowa State, a top 16 team in the country at home, is only -3 against their rival. That's a little bit of a trap line to me. SMU, only -2.5 against Baylor. Baylor's coming off a loss to Auburn. That's a possible trap line. So I look at those 3, and this is where I currently see the value. I think Duke is what you call a dupe. I don't like the +3 for them. I think Illinois is the much better team. They return a ton of production defensively. They've got all Big Ten guys at all 3 levels. Offensively, this is going to be a test for them. They played Western Illinois last week. That's not getting a ton of a grasp of what they're going to look like, but they did put up 50-plus points. And with a couple of key contributors leaving and going elsewhere in the offseason, I think it's really important they were able to have that much success. So I lean Illinois right now at the -3. I know it's a little bit of a sketchy line, but this line has moved up a half point since it opened at 2.5. I think Duke is a dupe. Iowa State. I think you're going to get duped if you take the Cyclones. I lean Iowa +3 right now. The much better defense, and this team might have an offense this season. Iowa might have an offense. I know that's crazy to say, but you get a transfer in Gronowski that comes over from the FCS level and looks to be the part at quarterback. Iowa State was not that impressive to me against Kansas State in week 0. I was not really overwhelmed with what Rocco Beck did. And we saw Kansas State play last weekend, and it was ugly. They barely beat North Dakota in their own building. How much of that win should we value after 2 bad weeks of Kansas State football? Maybe they're just not a good team. Iowa State -3 at home is really fishy to me. Right now, I lean Iowa +3, a rivalry matchup. These things could go either way. Right now, probably my favorite bet of the week, and I haven't placed anything yet. I usually finalize picks on Friday night. Baylor +2.5. I'm not in on this SMU team. Kevin Jennings against competent opponents last year was trash. 5 interceptions against Penn State and Clemson combined in the final 2 games of the season. And I get it. Baylor's not as good as a Clemson and a Penn State. Those were 2 college football playoff teams. But Baylor's coming off a loss in their own building to Auburn. and is only plus 2.5 on the road against a top 25 team in the country. I think this is a red flag and should be a red flag for anyone that wants to take SMU. This line opened up at plus 6.5, folks. Things have been all the way bought down to 2.5 now. So I think the right move is taking Baylor. It will probably be one of my stronger sides of the week. Obviously, you can follow the channels here on Fox. Listen to us on Overtime for my picks. Also at the Patafax on Twitter. Post them out every Saturday if you want to get in on the action. But those are my 3 bets I'm looking at right now. All these +3, -3 kind of doopy bets. These are the ones that could catch you up. But thankfully, you got your college football sicko right here, William Patterson, to help you out. That's our best bets look ahead for this upcoming weekend. Week 2 of college football should be a good one. Not as many big-time matchups as week 1, but there are still some fun ones. And I even, forgot to mention a couple of them. Like South Florida, Florida could be a good one. The Bulls get a big win over Boise State last week. Florida getting their first test of the season. You've also got Michigan and Oklahoma. Right now, I lean the Sooners, but the 5.5 is a high line. And then another interesting one is Arizona State traveling to Mississippi State. This line opened at -10 in the summer, now down to +6.5, or -6.5 for Arizona State, a team I like a lot. But those Cowbells may cause a little bit of trouble for the Sun Devils. We'll have to see. But again, we'll have those bets finalized on Friday night, so make sure you tune into that show. Other than that, that's enough for hour number 1. When we come back in hour number 2, we'll get ready for week 2 of college football, eyeing some of the big storylines heading into the weekend. And we'll also do our rapid-fire NFL divisional selections for each division in the National Football League ahead of the 2025 NFL kickoff. Plenty to cover in hour number 2. Stay right here. It's Overtime, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
It's time for the North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week. Brought to you by North Knox Siding and Windows. Call 865-689-0505 or visit them online at northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
This week's North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week is Gibbs High School's Seth Sieber. Sieber led the Eagles to a 24-21 win at Halls last week. Sieber led the way defensively with 12 total tackles and 5.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and a pass broken up as Gibbs improved to 2-0 on the season. Gibbs High School's Seth Sieber, this week's North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week.
North Knox Siding and Windows, locally owned and operated. They can handle all your siding, window, gutter, and roofing needs. Call 865-689-0505 for a free estimate or go online to northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives. And I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at bonoshouses.com.
The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Pattison on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a William Wednesday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime, presented by VIP Play. Allie Campbell, Tyler Barbaras, Jackson Freeman joining you. I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we'll dive into some of the big week 2 storylines across college football after a wild week 1 full of big-time matchups and surprising upsets. Then we'll get ready for the NFL season. We shot Shooting the Shield earlier today, John Reed and I. That is back for season 2. We got renewed, folks. People love hearing John and I argue about the Jaguars and Titans enough to do another episode, another season of it. But we only had like 2 minutes of arguing this time. We've become better in the office, sitting next to each other every day. We don't argue. We really don't.
That was honestly stressful before. It was always bickering.
Well, it was, but I think now it's like kind of an understood of, he understands, I do work. I understand, his needs and what he needs done. So we have that mutual thing now. But what we don't understand and see eye to eye on are still a lot of NFL things. But, it is what it is. We don't have to agree with everything in life. But in that mood of Shooting the Shield being back and the NFL being back, we're going to do rapid fire our NFL division winners. We'll tell you who we believe will be representing each conference division in the NFL playoffs this upcoming year. And we'll have, as always, our final thoughts. Interested to see what we talk about today. Yesterday, it was Cracker Barrel, but it could have been a lot of other things. We don't know. We'll get right into the action now with college football, as week 1 delivered with plenty of big-time matchups and results that will be talked about for weeks. As we head into week 2, we will navigate some of the biggest questions coming out of week 1, and we'll begin with the slippery slope. Which week 1 result is the canary in the coal mine for the entire season, similar to Florida State's loss to Georgia Tech in Ireland last year? So, folks, you may remember Florida State, Georgia Tech opened the season last year in Ireland. Florida State fell. DJU made his debut, and he was very unimpressive. He put the U in unimpressive. And from that point on, they ended up going 2-10. We've seen this kind of be a pattern over the last couple of years of where teams come out flat in week 1 and then end up dropping farther down the list. You had a Florida State LSU in 2023 where Florida State was really strong that year, ended up going undefeated in the regular season, but LSU only was 9-3 with a Heisman quarterback in Jaden Daniels. In 2023, again, you had Duke upsetting Clemson, and Clemson finished 4-4 in the ACC that year. In 2021, Miami got shellacked by Alabama. The Canes went 7-5. Manny Diaz got fired. In 2018, we saw Miami get shellacked again by LSU. The Canes went 7-6. Mark Richt ended up retiring, said, I've had enough. So we've seen this before. Obviously, Alabama was the big loss this weekend. Do we expect that from them? I think is one of the first talking points we have to make, because that was kind of the big shellacking of the weekend. That was one of the big surprises. I think Alabama is too talented of a roster to be that canary in the coal mine of one loss and now everything's downhill. But it's hard to watch what you saw unfold this weekend in Tallahassee and say, this is a group that I have a lot of trust in. This is a team that returns a Deontay Loston and a Keon Sabb and a Damani Jackson on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, Parker Brailsford and Caden Proctor, two of the best offensive linemen at their position in the country. Ryan Williams looked like he had been on Twitch and TikTok all summer on Saturday. Jeremy Bernard was strong, but outside of that, like, there wasn't another offensive player that really did their job. I think they're too talented to have an absolute downfall this year, but things can quickly erode if you don't fix things. And my biggest concern is that the same issues they had on Saturday against Florida State were the same issues they had last season. Undisciplined, falling on guys after the play, late hits, holding penalties, delay of games, stupid stuff. And they got punched in the mouth and manhandled on the line of scrimmage. And that wasn't necessarily the case against Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt was able to kind of navigate some things and just schematically was able to win that one. But Michigan was second and third stringers in the bowl game, manhandled Alabama. Oklahoma manhandled Alabama, did not let Jalen Milroe be that good of a running quarterback in that one, forced him to throw and forced him into a lot of mistakes. So I am worried about this Alabama team. I said on Monday, this is the lowest point of the Kalen DeBoer era. And if they don't fix things quickly, discipline and, controlling the line of scrimmage, then they could be the canary in the coal mine. Allie, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. If you look at their schedule, there are about 6 games that look like they could lose with how they played this week, if not more than that, if they continue to play how they played this week. But Georgia, at Georgia, late in September, looks impossible. They also play Vanderbilt. You know how much Diego Pavia would love to topple that team again. And then Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, even Auburn. There's just a lot of challenges here. So I think that they could be the canary in the coal mine. I am not extremely optimistic about this team. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect. It's such a big question mark right now.
I think another team to mention, and we just talked about them in the best bet segment, but it's Baylor. Baylor was really unimpressive to me against Auburn. Auburn comes in with a lot of questions. Hugh Freeze faces a lot of pressure. Baylor had the more established quarterback, the more established offensive line, the more established running back, and they were not impressive at home. That's a home game against an SEC opponent. You're wearing the Chrome Domes. They weren't even like they should have been up for that one, and it was an impressive performance. I'm not saying that Baylor is going to be that same way as they play a Big 12 schedule, and they've got about 3 or 4 games the rest of the way that could trip them up. But a 7-5 season for them would be a huge disappointment, and ended up getting Matt Aranda fired. So that could be the same type of situation, but I feel like Baylor is able to bounce back this weekend. We'll see if they respond. If they go 0-2, then definitely could go down that road. It's kind of like a boulder going down the side of a cliff. It can only get bigger and badder. And if they're not able to get a win this weekend, I feel like it could go down that trajectory. Couple more storylines to hit on before we head to the phones. I know we got Patrick on the line. Patrick, just give us 1 second. You got to get to a couple of these other topics real quick, but hang on the line. We'll get to you in just a second. I want to talk about conference competition because with the exception of UCLA's embarrassing loss to Utah, where Nico Iamaleava was not impressive at all, the Big Ten has to be pretty happy with what went down in week 1. The SEC's image was a little bit tarnished by Alabama and Texas and those big standalone games, but LSU's victory over Clemson definitely salvaged things. Miami and Florida State, big boost to the ACC, but the ACC was 1-4 in other Power 4 games, Syracuse and Virginia Tech being 2 notable ones. And the Big 12 has something to be happy about as well. Utah looked good, but you can't be happy with Colorado, Cincinnati, and Baylor all losing in primetime slots as well. And we'll get into how does week 1 impact the way the Power 4 conferences are viewed heading into week 2. I think the SEC looks a little bit more of an open gate than it did per se coming into the season. I think LSU stock rose a lot to where now they're a well-respected team. Alabama as the polls were an example of yesterday, are not getting much respect. Arch Manning, a lot of people are already out on him and saying that Arch Manning's not going to be a good quarterback. I'd pump the brakes on that. It was one game against an Ohio State team that is still really, really solid. I thought defensively they stepped up above what I predicted. But Texas still has one of the best defenses in the country. They'll be fine. But LSU and Georgia, I still think are really, really strong teams. Even if Texas doesn't end up being as good as I think and Alabama ends up flaming out, you still got 2 representatives. And I think these kind of middle-tier teams would really benefit from that. Tennessee being one of them. Florida being one of them. South Carolina being one of them. I could even throw maybe a Oklahoma in that mix as well. We'll see how they do against the Wolverines. But I think the SEC has the opportunity to find a new team out of that kind of mix that hasn't had much recent success in terms of winning the conference or being on the college football championship level. It creates a couple opportunities. So I think the SEC is fine. I think the ACC got the biggest boost with having Miami and Florida State back, because last year was a disaster for the ACC. SMU and Clemson were your 2 best teams. Miami was what it was. They were a disaster defensively, but their offense was good enough with a first-round draft pick and Cam Ward to make them look good. But I thought it was a lot of window dressing for a really bad defense, and it caught up to them against Syracuse. But having Miami and Florida State look like that defensively, I thought was really big for the conference on top of what you already have with Clemson. They're the big winner. If I had to say, a loser, probably be the Big 12. Colorado was really unimpressive. They got 3 turnovers in the first 3 possessions, and they only got 7 points out of it. Cincinnati, I expected more from. Brendan Sorsby at quarterback was honestly pretty bad outside of like the final 2 drives of the game. Only had like 40 yards before those last 2 like 75-yard drives. And Baylor was really, really disappointing to me as well. Kansas State has been a train wreck. Iowa State might be in that same position. We'll have to see this weekend. Allie, how do you view these conferences after week 1?
Well, there's been a huge conversation lately and going into the season about the Big Ten and the SEC, because there's so much conversation around the SEC and it just means more and all that stuff. But with Big Ten winning the national championship last year and having some big victories in week 1, they're, well into the conversation for one of those bigger conferences. So it looks like there's kind of tiers now, with maybe the Big Ten and the SEC on that top tier. And then the ACC has those really strong teams, and a lot of people are really high on Clemson, and Florida State looks good now, like you said, but there's still only a few of them.
Yeah.
There's still the Georgia Techs that look solid, but you'd expect to beat them as an SEC team, and it wouldn't really be close, you'd assume. But I think that there's still some separation. I wonder if there's a way to make them more competitive, more comparative.
Yeah, comparable.
If you will. Yeah, comparable. I don't know. I would say it's more in a tier system now, but
yeah.
We
got a couple more topics, but before we do that, I promised on the air that we'll head to Patrick on the line. Patrick, what is up, man? How are you?
Good evening, crew.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. And I appreciate the commentary on this past weekend's football games in college. What an awesome weekend it was to be back to having good football, and even some great football that we saw this past weekend.
Yeah.
So I want to start, before I talk about Tennessee, I want to start with a couple of shockers that I saw. Jackson Arnold, Auburn, the Reverend must have been on his knees praying, because I think that he said he was going to use 3 quarterbacks in the first game.
Yeah.
And all we saw was a quarterback that flourished. So maybe the Reverend still has it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, here's my thing with Auburn and Jackson Arnold. It was a very impressive performance from him, but my concern is, can he do that in the SEC? Baylor's defense did not do a good job at all of containing him where he would scramble out of the pocket and pick up a ton of yards because Baylor is playing so soft on those receivers, and like an Eric Singleton and a Coleman and company, like they've got some really good dudes on the perimeter. And I think there was just so much attention on them where they forgot that Jackson Arnold could also use his legs. We never really seen that from him because last year at Oklahoma, he didn't really make plays like that. And if he did, let's go back to that Tennessee game, Patrick, he would get beat. I mean, he'd get beat up, get hurt, get knocked out of the game, fumble it. He had a couple of crucial turnovers in the red zone last season against Tennessee, and that's what led to him, eventually getting benched. So while I do think it was good to see him play like that, I really worry what it looks like in that first SEC game against SEC-level linebackers and defensive linemen that aren't going to allow him to run around like a chicken with his head cut off after the first couple of reads are gone.
Well, let me throw this in, though. I don't know that he had much of a chance at Oklahoma because they had so many injuries to their wideouts, as I recall, last year.
Yeah.
But Auburn spent big in the portal, and I only bring this up because the Auburn-Tennessee, it used to be a great rivalry. I mean, we're talking, you were probably a toddler.
Yeah.
Where it was a great rivalry. It wasn't Alabama, Tennessee, Florida. We hate your guts and despise your children.
Yeah.
But it was a great football rivalry. And hey, listen, they've got Alabama coming up, and that's my next kind of shocker to me was I didn't know that I thought Florida State had a team, versus last year they had a team. They're heavy in the portal.
Yeah.
And what surprised me was that Alabama, Florida State just beat Alabama at the line of scrimmage. They hit harder. They were more intense. They were more aggressive. And it really, and I'm a Tennessee fan. I'm 55 something years old. My father's 80, and I went to my first Tennessee game when I was 4.5 years old. And so the rivalry for me is Alabama. There's nothing bigger, nothing better than Tennessee, Alabama. But what shocked me was Alabama's lack of response and lack of intensity. My father, being 80 years old, he took my family, my girls, and everybody over to the Tennessee game, Syracuse, and he came home grinning ear to ear, like just loving that Alabama was getting beat and ultimately got beat by Florida State. And he's like, they're done. I'm like, don't count them out. They've got great recruiting, but they just didn't respond.
Yeah. Alabama with Kalen DeBoer hit its lowest point on Saturday in my eyes because the same issues you had last season, Patrick, for Alabama. Discipline, that's after the play, that's holding,
right?
That's, pass interference, stuff like that. That's what cost them losses against Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and Michigan in those big-time games. Tennessee as well.
Yes.
It was apparent once again. It was apparent once again on Saturday, and they also got manhandled in all those other games as well. It doesn't look like they're motivated to play any other game besides like Georgia. That's a huge issue.
Right.
And they do have the talent, which is the crazy thing. I'm interested to see how this team goes from here on out. I think they've got to start at quarterback, though. Ty Simpson is not a starting quarterback in the SEC.
No.
Keelan Russell, the backup, or third string, whatever it may be, he's a 5-star that came in this season. Michigan's throwing out Bryce Underwood, a 5-star, a true freshman. Michigan's doing it. Surely Alabama can gut up here and say, let's play the best guy in the room, not the antique that it's been here for 4 seasons and never touched the field.
So let's talk about, just for a minute, you're probably up against it, but so I just want to say this about Tennessee because I've been a critic. I've been a critic of Joey football, Joey whatever.
Yeah.
Joey got it done is what I saw. I don't know what you say about the kid. He's not a kid. He's a young adult. He did everything and more that you would want from any new starting quarterback. And a guy that went from App State to UCLA, I mean, he had a great game. Now he's got some mechanics issues. If he's throwing off his back foot, if he's rushing, he sells it high. But my thing was I was more disappointed in the receivers that dropped catchable balls, that it wasn't like they were getting rocked at the line of scrimmage. They just dropped balls. And the other thing that I was unpleasantly surprised about was our linebacker play again was non-existent.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this year we are going to have to outscore opponents to beat them based on what I saw from some of and I think we could call them defensive lapses. When we go into third and long and we're running the zone, William, you get out there and you could throw a 20-yard pass if it goes first down. I don't know your athletic ability at all. But I have to say, because I was very critical of Heupel bringing in Joey Aguilar, and I'm just he did everything that you could want and more. He ran the offense fast. He wasn't having to look over the sideline and make his checks, and he just had a heck of a game and never played in a Power 5 football. I mean, just to me, just totally blew me away. So thank you for the time, guys. I want to hear your comments about how Joey ran the offense and how smoothly it looked like it ran. I want to also get a shout out to the running backs. Man, those guys, we're deep at running back. We may not have a game breaker, but we got some guys that can really hurt you. So thanks for the time. Y'all have a great night.
You as well, Patrick. We appreciate you calling in as always. And that's a good segue because we were about to talk about which young or new starting quarterback at a top program impressed the most. Joey Aguilar was one of those guys, and I thought Joey was really comfortable, and he settled in early, and I think that's a big thing for any newcomer, whether it was a Steve Angeli, whether it was a C.J. Carr at Notre Dame making his first start. Joey was comfortable early and got in rhythm, and that's a big thing for a guy that got on campus at the end of May, early June. To look that comfortable in this system was a really, really good sign. And there were a couple of drop passes here and there. He's got to bring the ball down a little bit, overthrew a couple of guys. But for the most part, he was really, really strong in his debut. And you were able to get into your tempo. You were able to run new sets. There was some newness. There was some life to this Tennessee offense, and it's because you executed and you established the run early with that running back tandem that you mentioned, Patrick, that I think is the best we've seen under Josh Heupel in terms of depth and guys that can do something a little bit different. I thought it was the perfect storm on Saturday of what you wanted this Tennessee team to be last year, and you got it all from a guy making his first start. So I was really impressed with him. And when we're talking about the defense, as you mentioned that as well, I think the linebackers and the interior defensive guys as well were subjective to scoreboard watching in the third quarter. Things got a little bit lazier offensively as you started to kind of try to wind down the clock. You had a couple of possessions after Joey Aguilar seemed to have gotten a little bit banged up or, pulled something in his back. You saw a couple of possessions of like 3 straight runs and just moving the game along. I thought the defense kind of echoed that in their effort and got smashed at times midway through the third quarter and beyond. The linebackers, I thought they did a good job in their blitzes. Arian Carter got to the quarterback. Jeremiah Thielander made a game-winning play with the interception. But the consistency has to be there in the interior defensive line, has to get a better push and fill those gaps in the run game to have more success. But, Patrick, we appreciate the call. And, guys, I'll open up to you. If you guys have anything to add on either of those topics. Tyler, you had raised your hand. You want to say something about it?
Yeah. I like talking about my teams, but It's been a while since I felt good about the University of Maryland football program.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Tennessee for a second.
No,
okay, nothing on Tennessee. Allie, do you have anything to add on?
on Tennessee.
On Patrick's
Sorry,
call. On Patrick's
I thought we were hopping to the quarterbacks.
Okay. No,
I'll wait
fine.
my turn.
You're fine. Jackson, anything on the Tennessee topic in terms of what Patrick said? I didn't know if anyone else wanted to add something to it.
Yeah, I might disagree a little bit with him saying linebacker play was non-existent. Like you said, Arian Carter with the sack, T. Lander with the tackle, and backup Edwin Spillman had a big sack as well. Maybe they weren't fitting in the run gap or scheme as much as you wanted them to, but I think it's a little early to call it the linebacker room like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is early, but it's a part of week one, right? It's overreaction week, right? We take everything we saw in the first game and say, whoa, that wasn't good, or that needs to be improved. And I don't think we're at the level as, and I'm not saying Patrick was saying this, but he did kind of preface it a little bit of having to go back to the team that has to just outscore opponents. It's tough because last year we were just banking on out defending teams and holding teams to a lower number. And we were wishing that we had an offense that could just outscore people. Now through one game, it seems like it's reversed itself again. It's like, oh, come on, we need that defense back. Just why can't it match up and all be one?
It's so funny. Like, this keeps happening. In the year before last year, we were relying on the offense to outscore. So
yeah,
we're right back to that.
Yeah. So hopefully that doesn't become a trend and things will be corrected this week. An opportunity against ETSU to clean some things up. But we'll switch back to our week one storylines, week two storylines coming off of week one. Tyler was very excited to talk about some Maryland football, and their quarterback did play well, as this is the topic of that new starting quarterback at a new program that performed well.
Yeah, it's got to go to Malik Washington, in my opinion. And sure, there might be a little bit of bias, but it's because Maryland hasn't had a good quarterback in years. I mean, Talia Tagovailoa was okay. He wasn't great. He never won us the big game. Came close to beating Ohio State a couple times and almost beat Iowa 3 years ago when they were ranked in the top 10. But Malik Washington, true freshman, 18 years old. 18 years old. Unbelievable. He had a very, very good game. I know it was against FAU, but I mean, man, any Florida school you got to give credit to. They're hooping right now. I saw a post on the Patafax about how this is the first time in like 15 years that Miami, Florida State, and Florida are all ranked in the top 15. So Florida's got something going for him right now, but Malik Washington dazzled, in my opinion. He went 27 for 43, 258 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked really accurate, used his legs when he had to use his legs. That's an aspect of Malik Washington's game that I can really, really appreciate, is his ability to move outside the pocket, make throws on the run. He was doing that in high school. I followed his high school career a lot. This Maryland team, I mean, they have the weapons around Malik Washington to win some big games. Octavian Smith, is really, really fun. Tennessee transfer Caleb Webb had a touchdown on Saturday in this game. So overall, if Malik Washington, can continue the success. Now, Maryland doesn't have a gauntlet of a schedule by any means. Their toughest game, probably their biggest upcoming challenge, I should rather say, is probably at Wisconsin, September 20th. So that'll be a big test against a well-known, well-respected, historically good defense up there in Madison, Wisconsin, in the Wisconsin Honey Badgers. So I'm interested to see how Malik Washington fares over the next couple of weeks. But based off, my week one, or based off his week one performance, I think this Maryland football team is trending in the right direction, and they could finally have their starting quarterback.
Any other quarterbacks that were impressive this weekend? Jackson, you have one?
Well, not a quarterback, but just a big college football game this weekend I'm really excited for is the renewal of the border rivalry between Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah.
This is a game where I'm an outsider looking in as a Tennessee fan, but I'm a Kansas City Royals fan, Kansas City Chiefs fan. So I see this all on Twitter.
Yeah.
The beef between these two fan bases. And, I mean, they haven't played in, I want to say, over 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It used to be a great Big 12 rivalry.
These people just hate each other.
I noticed there's something about the blood and Jayhawk. Like, I've seen like a bunch of like Jayhawk mascots like be put up on like like spikes and stuff. I don't know what it is.
It is a crazy rivalry that I'm glad we're getting back in college football.
Should be a fun one.
Seems intense.
I should have talked about on those best bets too. That's an interesting one as well. Jaylon Daniels, when he's fully healthy, talk about a guy that might not be young and a new quarterback, but a guy that when he's playing and is healthy, Jaylon Daniels, one of the best in the country, has looked strong so far for Kansas. They've had a ton of speed. That's one thing that I've really liked from this group. Missouri with Bo Pribula, a guy that is a relatively young new quarterback as he's now at the Tigers. He was impressive against Central Arkansas. Is he able to replicate that at home? Do you have an early lean of who you think wins that one? Do you think Kansas is a 6.5 point underdog on the road though?
I think Kansas is going to go in and take care of business. I'm not a big Missouri guy. Definitely not this year. I can't ever buy into drink.
Yeah.
I think Kansas is going to go in there and take care of business, and I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, should be a fun one. Drinkwitz, acquired taste, Shane Beamer, and acquired taste. Those Jayhawks, they looked impressive. I'm not a huge fan of their new stadium, though. I think the lighting thing up top is a little weird. It kind of looks like it's like an unfinished fence around, but the stadium, at least the base of it, is cool. A big upgrade from what they had. It was like bleachers before that. But, yeah, I like Jaylon Daniels a lot. Bo Pribula was impressive. Allie, any quarterbacks from over the weekend for you that were impressive or caught your eye?
Can I say something crazy that I feel like is controversial?
Uh-oh, here we go, folks. Where are we going with this one?
I thought Julian Sayin looked good. Okay? Hear me out. So other than Kyle McCord's emergency first start back when he was at Ohio State, this was the least productive starting quarterback debut since Ryan Day has been at Ohio State. However, I will say that he showed a lot of composure and he did what he needed to do given the circumstances. And so I think for his first game, it was promising to see what he was able to do, especially against a very, very strong Texas defense. And I expect him to improve a lot on this. And then looking at articles and what Ryan Day has said about his performance, he said that he asked Sayin what he needed to work on, and he addressed everything that they saw in film. So he was very aware of what happened on the field. He's very aware of assessing the game correctly. And so Sayin said that was something that you don't often see with young quarterbacks like that don't have a ton of experience. So I think he was impressive in his debut.
Yeah, Julian Sayin didn't do too much, and sometimes that's enough to get a big-time win in your opener. Plenty of great storylines heading into week 2. We'll continue to have some coverage leading up to this Saturday's action. But when we come back, the Shield is back. We'll switch over to the NFL, and we'll give our rapid-fire predictions of who we believe will win the NFL divisions this upcoming season. Stay right here. It's Overtime, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your home exterior needs. If your home needs new siding, windows, doors, gutters, handrails, a deck, or a new roof, then give my friends at North Knox Siding and Windows a call at 865-689-0505. You can also visit their showroom at 5618 North Broadway. Locally owned and operated and proudly serving all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas, North Knox Siding and Windows. Online at northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
Have you ever found yourself wishing your clothes looked brand new again? Whether it's your favorite suit, that little black dress, or your comfy winter coat, Crown Cleaners can make it happen. From stubborn stains to delicate fabrics, the expert team at Crown Cleaners uses the latest cleaning technology to ensure your clothes come back looking and feeling fresh. Visit one of their 2 area locations, Kingston Pike on Bearden Hill or South North Shore Drive near Dunkin' Donuts. Online at crowncleaners.com. Crown Cleaners, a tradition of excellence.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
All right, back here on Overtime, presented by Fan Run. Oh, my gosh. No, not presented by Fan Run Radio. We're on Fan Run Radio, but this is presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. Folks, we're about 24 hours away from being 45 minutes away from the college football. Fan Run and college football. 0 for 2. If I do it again, I'm striking out. Someone's going to have to take over the rest of the way. Let's try this again. 24 hours and 45 minutes away from the NFL season returning. We get the Eagles and Cowboys tomorrow night. Got it through at that time. And in light of that, it's time to call our shot, make our predictions for the NFL division winners. Now, we've got 8 of them on the slate this summer. We talked about the over and unders, the win totals, and we also had our projections for those. But we've got 24 hours before the season begins. So now it's time to lock everything in and finalize what we've got heading into the season. So since there are a lot of divisions, we'll go rapid fire, just maybe a couple of quick points here and there. We'll begin in the AFC and we'll go down all the way to the NFC and beyond. So begin in the AFC East. Buffalo Bills, they're going to be consistent during the regular season. I think the Patriots will be competitive. I'm not in on the Jets. I think the Dolphins, this is the last year with Mike McDaniel. I say the Bills for the AFC East. We'll go Tyler and Jackson in that order, kind of like a triangle. Tyler, your pick.
Yeah, I think it would be foolish to go with any team besides the Buffalo Bills. This has been their division for quite some time now. But I do think the Patriots are going to make it closer than a lot of people expect. I really, really like what they've done. I would expect this division to, come down to the final 4 or 5 weeks or so. If the Patriots can stack up some wins, you could see the Patriots ultimately, winning 11, 12 games and winning that division with how easy their schedule is. But just to be safe here, I got to go with Buffalo.
Okay, Jackson.
I got to go Buffalo as well. I mean, as much as I dislike them, as much as I'd like to see somebody else take their playoff spot, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think the Bills are the safe pick here. We'll move to the AFC North. Now, we could have some differing opinions on this one. I wonder where Tyler goes on the AFC North.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I will say I am a little bit worried about Lamar Jackson's health. We've had 2 great years of fully healthy football, and I feel like we are on the horizon for an unhealthy season. I don't know. I hate to say that, Tyler, but I mean, knowing his career, we could see a possible injury this season. I would hate it for him, but I don't know. Just knowing his track record, he's kind of due, But I think the Bengals offense will still be good. I'm interested to see what Al Golden does defensively, the new defensive coordinator that comes over from Notre Dame. The Steelers, we saw what Aaron Rodgers looks like last year. I don't know how they're trotting him out this season with any sort of confidence, but I do like their defense once again. We'll have to see what they're able to do offensively. Ravens for me in the AFC North.
Yeah, one pushback I got to make is under the past 2 seasons that Todd Monken has been the Ravens offensive coordinator. Lamar Jackson has played every single game besides one, but that's because he didn't have to play the game. The Ravens locked in that number 1 seed in 2023. Lamar has been running at a lesser amount under Todd Monken. He's protecting his body. Lamar Jackson, I think, should be healthy for the whole season, ready to go, given his positive track record under Todd Monken. But to win the division, got to go with the Ravens. Strongest team from head to toe. Not even in that division, but possibly in the whole entire league. Who knows? But I got to go with my Baltimore Ravens.
Unbiased selection there from Tyler.
You said the same.
Well, I knew you were going to go the Ravens, but yeah. Jackson.
Yeah, I'm going to have to piggyback off Tyler and go with the Ravens. I don't think the Bengals' plan of only paying the offense and just putting anybody out there on defense is going to work out for them very well this year.
Yeah, they've basically got a garage sale of anyone willing to play football for the Bengals can come play defensively. Not a smart move at all. Trey Hendrickson, they decided to come to terms with, but are working toward.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, hell. That's better than what they've got if he left. So kind of a move they had to make. But, again, I don't see the point of paying T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, as good as they are. A lot of money on your offense when your defense was abysmal last year. This one should be fun. The AFC South. Texans, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. A lot of fans here around Tennessee say, there's some value on the Tennessee Titans. Never know what Cam Ward will do. Let's be real. They're probably winning 4 to 5 games. So, the Texans, obviously the front runner here. Jacksonville Jaguars win the division. Liam Cohen comes over from Tampa Bay, had plenty of success with Baker Mayfield last season, gave him career numbers. Baker Mayfield, keep in mind, guys, was a guy that was getting shipped around like an Amazon package going to play Thursday Night Football for the Rams 2 years ago. Back-to-back seasons with Dave Cannelli and Liam Cohen. He's coming off really good numbers. I think Liam Cohen's going to implement that into this Jaguars system. And this offseason, James Gladstone, the new general manager, got rid of all those idiots that Trent Baalke brought in that were terrible. They have rechanged the culture. They have set the tone. Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. are going to be must-see TV. Give me the Jaguars for the AFC South.
An unbiased pick there by William Pattison. However, the Jags have been growing on me recently. I've been, looking at their offense. I think it could be a top 10 offense in the NFL. I do really like that unit. The offensive line does worry me a little bit, keeping Trevor Lawrence healthy, but their playmakers, especially out wide, are too good to ignore. But with that being said, I got to go with the Houston Texans. I think the Texans have a top 5 defensive unit in all of football this year. I love their pass rush. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, top 3 pass rush duo in the NFL. Then you flip to their cornerback duo, Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley, top 5 cornerback duo in the NFL. I love how they have built their defense at the cornerback and edge rushing spots. I believe they have enough depth in every other area on that defense to have one of the better defenses, not just in the AFC, but in the whole NFL. I do believe C.J. Stroud will have a bounce-back year from what he had last year, getting Nico Collins back and healthy, and also adding guys like Jaden Higgins and blanking on the other wide receiver from Iowa State.
Jaden Higgins is Iowa State.
Yes, they drafted another one. From,
what is it? Blue? No.
Not Jadon Blue. That's a running back.
Yeah, Jadon Blue is for the Cowboys. Just continue.
Anyways, I think their offense is going to be very, very strong. Not, nearly as good as they were in C.J. Stroud's rookie year, but I think with this defense, I think, this Texans team can go as far as their defense and C.J. Stroud takes them, and I'm willing to bank on that.
I'm going to have to go with the Jaguars. Everything Will said about Liam Cohen, I wholeheartedly believe. I think he's going to go down there and do wonders for Trevor Lawrence. I would really like the Travis Hunter pick. I always imagined he would play more on offense than defense, and that seems to be the route they plan to go. And pairing him with Brian Thomas Jr., who was one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL last year, statistically at least.
Yeah.
I think they might have something special cooking down there in Jacksonville.
Jackson, you were a great addition to the show. Great take right there. Great take. AFC West, a fun division for sure. Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers. I gave my prediction earlier on Chewing the Shield. Give me LA. Give me the Chargers. I really believe in what Jim Harbaugh is doing. I think the Broncos are probably the second best bet outside the Chiefs to win it, but I have a lot of stock in what Jim Harbaugh is able to do in year 2. Last year, he kind of threw his guys together and made it work with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Amarian Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina, going to be really, really good this year. I know if is at quarterback, Justin Herbert, but if has a good season and is able to connect with Ladd McConkey and Trey Harris and get the running game established behind a good offensive line that does take a hit with Slater. But outside of that, I think Jim Harbaugh has done a good job before and has proven last year that even with a kind of a thrown-together group, they can still find success. I think the Chargers are the best team in the division in the regular season. The Chiefs will be the best team in the division in the postseason. But, I mean, the Chiefs are a little bit beat up right now for me to have a ton of confidence in.
You know, I didn't want to be the one to fade the Chiefs, but since you already did it, it makes my job easier. Give me the Denver Broncos. I love what the Broncos have done in the offseason. You go out, you get a tight end where you lacked last year. You bring in Evan Ingram, who William knows a lot about. He's a very, very good tight end when healthy, but that's the issue. He can't stay healthy. However, you bring in J.K. Dobbins. You draft R.J. Harvey. Really, really formidable rushing attack there. Bo Nix, I expect to improve in his sophomore season. I love their weapons. Cortland Sutton, I think, is great. Marvin Mims, I think, is going to have a breakout year. Pat Bryant, rookie out of UCF. I really like what he can bring to the table. But I look at this defense. Oh, Lord, this defense is stacked. They have the best cornerback in football in Patrick Surtain. You go out, you bring in 2 guys from the San Francisco 49ers. Talanoa Huafunga, all-pro safety. By the way, 2 seasons ago, he'll play on that backside, kind of be, your Justin Simmons replacement. You've tried to find someone that can fill that void over the past season, 2 seasons, and now you bring in a really good safety in Talanoa Huafunga. You also bring in Dre Greenlaw, who I really, really like. Their pass rush, I have a little bit of questions about that, but I do believe the likes of John Franklin Myers, Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito really impressed me in the second half of last season. I think this defense has all the makings to finally contend for not just a wild card spot, but for this AFC West divisional title. But it'll probably be tough to dethrone the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens there, but I like my Broncos.
All right, Jackson, where are you going here?
Well, I think anybody can guess. Anybody that knows me, I'm going to pick Kansas City. I've heard it for almost every year that Patrick Mahomes has been the starting quarterback, that LA was finally going to take the step and cement themselves as the division winner. We're in year 9 now. Hasn't
Crazy.
happened. Denver, no. I'm banking on what's his name? Bo Nix, sophomore slump. I think they happen a whole lot more common in the NFL than they used to. It's a whole lot easier to just pick apart what guys thrive on and shut that down. Maybe in a year or 2, we can start having more conversations about the Broncos, but for this year, give me the Chiefs again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jackson. I know you helped me out with my Jags. I should have helped you out with the Chiefs, but I've got to go off of what I've already said on Chewing the Shield. Make sure you go check that out on the Fan Run Podcast Networks and YouTube. All right, we got to go rapid fire here through the rest of these NFC divisions, and I hate it because a couple of these are really good. NFC East, I'm going the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Commanders give them a chance, but Eagles just more established Super Bowl winners last year. NFC North, give me the Minnesota Vikings. Big believer. And oh my gosh, Tyler.
Sorry.
Big believer in Kevin O'Connell. This is a great roster. J.J. McCarthy will fit in great. NFC South, kind of a bad division. About said something I shouldn't have. But give me the Atlanta Falcons here. I think Michael Penix is able to find some success, and I think they've got a more up-to-date roster than Tampa Bay. NFC West, give me the Rams. I love Sean McVay. I think the 49ers are in like season 7 of The Office right now. They continue to kind of try to make new jokes and make this thing lively, but not even bringing back an old character can make this team good and up-to-date. I just think they're past their prime. Their window's gone. Give me the Rams in the NFC West. So I go Eagles, Vikings, Falcons, Rams.
I agree with you on every single one of those divisions. I agree with the Eagles. I agree with the Falcons. I agree with the Vikings. I really like the Seahawks in the NFC West. I love Mike McDonald as a head coach. I think this offense is going to be really, really fun under Sam Darnold. He proved that, with a good surrounding team around him, he can take an offense and, put them over the top. I think Darnold does that with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, a really good offensive line, and a fantastic defense.
The Seahawks. Gosh, going to watch Sam Darnold 17 times a year? Hell no.
Got the Vikings to 14 wins last year.
With Kevin O'Connell. Let's see what he does with a defensive-minded coach.
That defense is going to be really, really damn good.
Well, they better be, because they won't be scoring a whole lot of points. Jackson, you're 4.
Start out with the East. I'm going to go with Washington. I think Philadelphia is going to have a setback offensively this year. They lost offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, and you can go back to a couple years ago after their Super Bowl loss to Kansas City. They lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators, and I believe they were a wild card team and lost to Tampa Bay in the wild card.
They beat Commanders.
No,
the Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah.
Yeah.
A few years ago. Yes.
Nick Sirianni's just a guy. He doesn't do anything. He's a guy that just stands on the sideline and takes the credit. He doesn't call any plays, so I think they'll step back offensively. Still have a great defense under Vic Fangio, but Washington's going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
NFC North, I got the Packers.
Okay.
Micah Parsons just solidifies this for me if he does play. The South, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I really like Baker Mayfield. I really like the addition of Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 3 at Ohio State would have been wide receiver 1 for a whole lot of teams last year.
Yeah.
Really just elite talent. And wrap it up with the West, I'm going to go with the Rams. I think Stafford's got one last in him.
Literally.
I think they might make it all the way to the Super Bowl.
They could. I love Sean McVay, man. And that group a couple of years ago was special. Stafford does look like age is starting to hit him. It might literally be his last leg this season, but I think the Rams have a good team. I like the addition of Devontae Adams playing that wide receiver 2 role next to Puka Nacua. Could be a good season for both of them. All right, when we come back, it's Final Thoughts. Stay right here. It's Overtime, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
It's football time at Tennessee, so crack open a cold beer that doesn't fumble the flavor. Garage Beer is 100% beer-flavored beer. No gimmicks, just cold beer. Built for bonfires, backyards, and beating Bama. Garage Beer is proud to be brewed right here in the Volunteer State. So pick up a 12-pack today and look for the drive celebrating Football Fridays at select Garage Beer headquarters around town this fall. American-owned, Tennessee-brewed Garage Beer. 100% beer-flavored beer.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's Nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'spro-knoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
All right, back here on Overtime on a William Wednesday. Appreciate you listening along with us. Couple of minutes for final thoughts. Allie and I were talking during the break. She was telling me about her awesome, what is it, a burrito bowl you were talking about? Taco bowl. I'm sorry. Taco bowl is the correct term from it. And I was asking if she put any sauce on it, like if there's anything that went along with it. And she said there's a healthy ranch I do. I was like, well, hold on. When you say healthy ranch, are you like, is it actually healthy or is it like from a nice place? Like, and she said Primal Kitchen. And that's when I knew it was actually healthy, because this brings me to one of my big pet peeves of the food industry. The food industry continues to try and bamboozle people into making bad decisions. So folks, when you go to the grocery store, right, and you're going down the aisle, avocado oil, mayonnaise, and avocado oil, the big time thing right now, kind of a big buzzword, but it is good for you. Some of these companies like Kraft will put their mayonnaise out and it will say avocado oil mayonnaise. And it's a scam because yes, it's in there and they can put it on the labeling, but the main ingredients are still the same ones from the normal mayonnaise that include soybean oil and Monsudo glutamate and all these bad additives, and they get you to bite on it because you say, oh, avocado oil. Everyone's been talking about it on Facebook. I'm going to go get it. No, you've got to have the good ingredients, organic, the good stuff, and it drives me nuts. Cheez-Its and Goldfish, all these yummy snacks that, I grew up eating and enjoyed back then. Enriched wheat flour, they take out all the nutrients of it. I know I sound like a nerd here, folks, but
you're a ton of fun.
I'm just fascinated by how it can get these people, like with buzzwords like real cheese and Cheez-Its. Well, yeah, there's real cheese in there, but there's a ton of other crap.
Or when it says shake and they just can't say milkshake because there's no milk in it.
It's
a big
good
one.
point, Allie. The ice cream aisle. Watch out, folks. Keep your eyes peeled, because some of these things will have to say frozen dairy dessert. Those drumsticks that everyone likes, right? With the chocolate and the peanuts on top of it. Gross. Leave that thing out for 48 hours. It will still have the same shape and everything because it's nothing but sucralose and corn syrup and all this crap they put in there. They can't call it ice cream.
Everyone needs to take William with them grocery shopping.
I'm serious, though. It drives me nuts.
I do have a question related to Tennessee sports, though. Do we think that Hendon Hooker actually ate French's Mustard? He was the first sponsor of French's Mustard.
Oh. Well,
he had an NIL deal.
Some of the, see, I've never had French's. I use, what is it? Does Heinz do mustard? Okay, I do the Heinz, organic one. But, see, I don't know my mustards. So, maybe he did, but if you're an athlete and you're, working out and all that, maybe you're fine. But you got to keep an eye. Jackson raised his hand. I do want to hit him real quick.
I was just going to say, folks, if you want something to cook your meat in that's healthy, just go to the store and get a tub of beef tallow.
Beef tallow. There we go.
That's what I use.
Interesting.
Oh, here we go. We only got 1 minute. I might not have enough time for this, but Steak Shack, Steak and Shake said they're frying their stuff in beef tallow. It's a scam because they fry the fries in the factory with seed oils. So there's no point in putting it in the beef tallow once it gets to the place. It's a scam, Allie. I can't believe it.
I'm so sorry that this is so detrimental to you.
And when you have, as many allergies as I do, it really gets you fired
That's true.
up.
That's true.
Yeah. The more you know, folks. We appreciate you listening along with us. For Jackson Freeman, Tyler Barbaras, Allie Campbell, I'm William Pattison. We'll see you once again tomorrow right here
Can't get
on
enough
Fan
Fan
Run
Run
Radio.
Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go.